Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to another Stories Around Azeroth. I'm Pete, Titan's Creed Nethercoat, and I'm always joined by the one and only, the greatest gnome thrown back through time to enjoy a world before the Cataclysm 1, Mr. Frazley. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. What's funny is if I was back in time for my real part, I'm actually a dwarf priest named Broden.
You're still short, though.
Yeah, it's still short, absolutely.
Still short.
And maybe one likes beer, I think, more than the other, maybe.
Quite possibly. How have you been, Mr. Frazley? How's your week been?
I've been great. Just been working on a lot of different things in WoW, kind of getting my heart up, and I ran some mythics yesterday with Capo, and got my eye level up to 413.
That's pretty decent.
And my heart's now up 57, I believe. So I mean, I'm getting close to 60.
Yeah.
I'm actually getting what essences are. I had to figure out which essence I want. But yeah, I feel like I'm actually a true gamer now.
A true nerd. I'm a true nerd now.
I have my thing at 57. Yeah, and
I've got all these numbers. I can just start you. Have you done anything else in Warcraft this week, my friend?
Other than, yes, I did not die on my iron. It's up to
Hey!
22.
22.
Yes.
Brilliant stuff. I haven't done much in Warcraft this week. Just done my normal stick, but I did hit 65 on the Heart of Azeroth, and there's actually a small couple of quests there, quite similar to when you went to Mount Hyjal. But instead you go to the Maelstrom and do a couple of quests there. So it's pretty good. I'm about halfway through the level, so about another 4.5, 5 weeks and I'll hit 70, get the final quest line. And then I'll have time to do some ults and tidy up some grinding and bits and pieces.
Nice.
It's pretty brilliant stuff. We are on the eve of going back in time 15 years and playing a very old game in literally 24 hours from when we are live right now. The WoW Classic servers will be up around the world. How are you feeling, Mr. Frazley? Are you hype for Classic?
Yes, I'm actually more hyped. When it was first announced, I wasn't ever against it because I think, hey, if Blizzard's going to the time to do this and people want it, then I'm not against it. But I didn't think I was going to play it. But the closer we get to it, I'm like, yes, I'm going to play it. I'm not going to play it as much as current WoW because I have to just prioritize more preventing time. But I'm going to play it. I'm going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be kind of fun to go back. I'm also enjoying that people are getting energized again. I hope the energy lasts, but I'm absolutely hyped. I mean, just today we found out the guild that a lot of our communities are going to be a part of on the US. So I'm now in their Discord, and I'm excited for that.
Brilliant stuff. I mean, a lot of the biggest news this week has all been about how all of the servers are literally filling to the brim. So yes, it's worth being aware that your queue times could be quite long. Very long queue times.
I'm starting a new phrase called Netflix and queue.
Netflix and queue. Amazing. Are you not going to be streaming your Classic experience as you first log into the servers? Do you not want to stream that queue?
Actually, I can, because that's at 6 p.m. tomorrow night.
Oh, lucky you. It's 11 p.m. here in the UK.
Well, and I don't have my dance that I typically do on Monday nights. So
do a little dance. Do a little jig.
No, the only thing is I have to figure out what to do. I might have to have another game queued up. Like, I might have to figure out a game that maybe I like Adventure to Pip or something, but figure out how to have one game here. Because with the queue, we're sitting at a queue like, hey, everybody, we're sitting at a queue.
I mean, that's where you communicate to your chat and talk to those people that are joining you in Queue Simulator 2019.
Yeah! Hey, everybody. Oh, it just went down. Yes, another number. Yes!
So, to remind people, you did play vanilla, yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you know roughly when you started playing? Were you there from the start?
Oh, I know the exact day it was Christmas Day, 2004. We
So-
saw Phantom of the Opera in theaters because I woke up, got the present. Then we went to see Phantom of the Opera. I'm like, I gotta wait till I get home to get open the WoW. So
Open the WoW.
I really did not watch much of the Phantom of the Opera movie. I mean, I did, but in my mind, I was just like, WoW's there. WoW's at home. WoW's at home.
Brilliant stuff. So you were there from quite early in the game's lifespan then?
Yeah, I left right before Burning Crusade because life and things like that. So some of the harder parts of Classic are why I had to leave at a time. So I missed a ton of the stuff from the Wrath, from the all those big events. I missed them.
Fair enough. But you're looking forward to leveling, even if it is starting on a later patch cycle?
Absolutely, because the game itself is there, and like with what they're doing with some of the add-ons, which we'll get to in a little bit, they're really creating a community focus.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about some of those add-ons later on, but we're going to go through some of the other stuff. Some of the biggest Classic news, I think we might have just briefly touched on a couple of episodes ago, was the Classic Dev Q&A that happened.
Yes.
I know it was 5 days ago, so it's definitely in the last week. But there was a lot to this. They really dropped a lot of information in the last week and everything else. So, like, they're keeping original reset days for servers and raids, which means, like, ZG, when it releases, will be on a 3-day reset cycle, stuff like that, which is insane.
You want to know what my first thought was with the Nixia's Lair on that one? I was thinking, okay, I can farm the mount. Oh, wait, no, that's actually gonna be a real raid at.
Plus, there was no mount in there until they re-released it.
Oh, I did not know that.
No.
Okay.
I think the only place that actually has a mount drop, other than ZG when they release it, is Stratholme Undead.
Yes, because I had a guild leader who was so excited back in vanilla to get that, and like every time I run that, trying to get that mount, that guild leader in my head saying, "Hey, I want to get this." So he was the first one to show me that you could get mounts from raid in dungeons.
But yeah, I mean, we'll go through a lot of this Q&A list, and I'll try to get your thoughts on it. Dungeons. Some of the original dungeon cap had a cap of 10 players. How do you feel about that? Like having mini raids.
I think that's kind of cool because it'd be. I think if I understand, some of that was. I'm trying to remember. Did it scale with you, or just the more people?
They were just hard. Yeah, they were just hard, and you're just able to do it with 10 people.
I'm trying to remember if I ever did it with 10 people. I might have. Some of that is, like I did those dungeons. I'm trying to remember if I ever did like the full raid. I might have, or we might not have had all those people for it. But it's definitely interesting, and I could see it also being a training ground for people on raids. Like, try out these dungeons, get the mechanics down, then we'll put you into a room of 40 people.
Interesting. So, I think one of the larger interesting parts is the loot and the phases drops. Because a lot of the people were worried that, because obviously as Molten Core went through the times in the patch release cycle, it had more and more gear drop to it, like the relics and bits and pieces for other classes. But I believe they've turned around and said that they are keeping... Yeah, I think they're keeping the basic Molten Core and Onyxia loot tables until they get to phase 6, and then adding in stuff.
That's what it sounds like to me. And if you're looking for a up-to-date database, Wowhead is really keeping on top of all this stuff. So
Wowhead Classic, you should say, because it's like classic.wowhead.com for specifically classic stuff, whereas Wowhead covers everything.
And if you log into that for 100 days, you get an achievement. I'm working on that.
Yeah, but there's lots of stuff, including all the Q&A. There's a lot of stuff. There's especially a massive post on how they're working with layering. Like, they're expecting a lot of the layering to essentially be gone by the time Phase 2 rolls around. And it's just mostly going to be there for day 1 to try and reduce the queues. But there's still so much overpopulation.
I think a lot of it, and again, I don't ever want people to think I'm a classic hater, because I'm not. I'm not a classic hater. Some of this overpopulation is people excited for it until they get into it. The ones who truly want it and truly know what they're getting into, they're gonna they're going to stick with it. So a lot of people are rolling for the hype, they're rolling for it, and then they're going to drop after finding out how difficult it is.
Oh, absolutely. Which, I mean, I think brings us on to a good point to really move on to, which is add-ons. Now, add-ons were a thing back in Classic, but because a lot of the Classic is based on the 8.2 point framework for Battle.net and WoW itself, and it's essentially just a different netcode that allows it to be working to run Classic WoW. So a lot of the add-ons are easily portable. I know that I'm personally going to be stepping into Classic WoW with LVUI, Quest Finder, and DBM at the bare minimum.
You can't say that. No.
I can say whatever the hell I goddamn like. How dare you, sir? How dare you tell me how I can play a 15-year-old game?
Well, I mean, because it's not in the spirit of Warcraft.
What, add-ons aren't in the spirit of Warcraft?
Oh no, they are. CT mod, I use that.
Are you actually gonna go in with no add-ons? Because
No.
I have, yeah, exactly. You're gonna use stuff that's gonna make your play life better.
Well, okay, so I'm going to take an analogous to Subnautica. I play Subnautica, and that is a game that is a lot of exploration. I try not to understand outside of the game. It's about learning in the game. I am thinking, this is starting out, I may start without quest add-ons until I get frustrated, but I do think I'm going to treat it differently, because some of those moments where I'm looking for stuff, it will be different. And again, this is me saying this now. In 6 months, you'll probably have me doing questy and stuff, and like Mankirk's wife will be like, there'll be like this giant neon sign over here. Hey, over here! Look, his wife is right here.
My argument is that I've played it all before. I want to have a streamlined experience. I already have my feelings going into the game that it's when Warcraft originally came out, I was playing Final Fantasy 11. Yeah. So once you wanted to level past level 10, you had to be in a party to do it, and if you died, there was a penalty. You had to run quite a way to get back to your body, and there was a loss of XP when you died. So when you find out that World of Warcraft was a single player experience, it was hella casual compared to what any other MMO on the market was back then. But you're releasing World of Warcraft Classic against a version of World of Warcraft that caters way more to the casual friendly audience, and you're up against Final Fantasy 14, which it's not massively casual friendly, but it's not bad. It's better than World of Warcraft when it launched. And they're only on expansion 4 as well, essentially. So, yeah. I mean, it's going to, especially when Classic is going to specifically focus on giving the people that have played the game in a post-Cataclysm world, who never got to experience Classic and have only heard the really long-time players go, when back in Classic the game was really hard, which we already know has been super debunked already. Super massively debunked already by all of the not a bug posts. So it's going to be interesting to see how it lasts. Yes, I think a lot of people are fully expecting specific stuff that wasn't really added until Wrath and Cataclysm and later on. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm probably going to get so far and then, go back to retail life. But we'll see.
My fear for me personally is that I don't want to get in and be like, I downloaded Cuphead, I bought Cuphead, I could get past the first level. That's my only thing for me. I'm not good at very difficult games. So
yeah, but Warcraft isn't very difficult. It just doesn't respect your time that you spend in it. That's the that's the problem with Classic WoW. It doesn't respect the time you spend. I was kind of
thinking for Classic, I'm treating it like a journey. That I don't care how long it takes me to get to 60. It's a journey. It's the same way with the irons. I do that for the journey. I'm not trying to get to it as fast as possible. I'm trying to survive, but I'm enjoying the journey to it.
That's fair enough. I mean, everybody's going to find the way they want to play it. My personal thing is I will probably try to bomb my way to 60 as fast as possible. Like, especially get the hell out of those starting zones. Like, get away from all of that as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's like when you go to Disney World and you know to go to Jungle Cruise because everybody's heading to Tomorrowland.
Yeah, I guess. I've never been to Disney World. But yeah, sure. I'll take that analogy. Just go to a different place that you know that's not going to be super rammed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's definitely going to be interesting. I'm going to be interested to see what the numbers are going to be like a month after release, you know, after everybody gets... Because you've already had people start their sub up like a week to 2 weeks earlier just to get the name registration on there and to try the stress test as well. So a lot of people's subs are probably going to run out 2 weeks after Classic, which is when, you know, the people who are going to play it are probably going to be 60. A lot of people who aren't Method are expecting to get Rag down in 2 weeks. Like those people who aren't Method, but, you know, they're expecting to get Rag in 2 weeks. Fraz, that is... Your camera has died, and it's a really interesting frame that it's died on. So I missed anything you might have said there.
No, I'm saying it's incredible that Method can spend all that time, but it's their job. It's their.
Well,
their
you have to remember that people have been, especially with the beta up to 40, the closed beta for Classic WoW, people have been trying to finesse the speed running to level in WoW Classic. You've had people on private servers. Now, numbers may not be exact on private servers, but they'll be as close as you're going to get in the interim between having vanilla WoW and having Classic. And people have been trying to speedrun WoW for ages. I think the record's like 28 hours, I think.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I've never been the most efficient leveler.
Well, no. But, we can tell that. We've watched your Iron Man content, Frazley. But yeah, there's a lot of people that think that the more casual, friendly people, the people who people are only going to play for a couple of hours a day, it's probably going to take you about 3 months. The people who play for about 8 hours a day, I imagine they'll probably hit 60 in about 11 days if they really go ham and put in more than 8 hours, if they're really enjoying it. But it's that post-40 grind, man. There's a specific reason that Blizzard locked the beta to level 40. And that's because up to 40 it's really easy. And then it's the 40 to 60 that you start running out of quests and zones, and you actually have to go mob farming or dungeon farming in order to actually get your levels.
Which I think is why a few people, during the beta, some people, when they were locked at 30, intentionally got all their quests done so they could test out grinding.
No, a lot of people in the beta, when they got to 30, finished a lot of their quests and tried to do harder content in order to get better stuff that they could use.
Okay.
In order to twink PvP. Because the way that Classic WoW works is that it'll give you quest rewards for stuff, because it doesn't expect you to finish it at the level it gives you the quest. A good example of this is the Whirlwind Axe for Warriors. Like, you can pick up that quest, I think, at like 35, but they don't expect you to finish it until like 45 or something daft like that. But you can finish that at 30 or something daft like that and have this really strong axe that will carry you through the next 10, 15 levels. It's insane. But you have to grind higher stuff up, because there's Dustfall of March is like a 35 to 40 zone, I think, in Classic. And there's a lot you've got to do there.
And I'm trying to remember, like, some of this stuff, I'm only remembering what I did on my alts in current WoW after the Cataclysm. So this is going to be interesting to see some of the stuff.
It's going to be interesting leveling in a non-scaling world.
Yeah. Well, and not even just like scaling. I just kept being reminded, as someone was saying, when servers open up, mobs are not multi-tap.
No. Hell,
And
even in Nazjatar on current WoW, there's stuff that is tapped to a 5-player party.
Yeah. But it was even more like the multi-tap mobs were beginning of Legion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. The sensible thing is probably going to be in a party, but then it will super slow down your leveling because it's punishing to do normal quests and killing mobs in a party. But it's going to be the most efficient way to get your quest done to get out of that starting area.
Why is it punishing to do the?
Because there's an XP reduction on the stuff that you kill when you're in a party in Classic WoW.
I forgot about that.
It's only in dungeons where there's actually a party boost. Anything out in the world, there's an XP reduction because it's the same XP drops, but it's split between the party group.
Okay, so it's not that because you're in a party you're being reduced, but it's sharing.
Oh yeah,
okay.
It also is. It's reduced over the entire party. Like,
yeah.
6 XP for killing a boar is then going to be reduced to like 1. It's just going to be the most efficient way to get out of, say, Northshire Abbey.
Yes.
Because I'm not looking forward to putting out grapes, stealing grapes from the bandits who are higher level than you. That's
now
be
I know why people never left the Goldshire Inn.
They get stuck there with the dancing people on tables.
Yeah.
But speaking of speed leveling and everything else, one of the big things that was announced that we kind of knew watching the Race to World First for the Eternal Palace is Method have announced their Race to World First Classic coming from Las Vegas. A host of many WoW creators, content creators from around the internet. Notable favourites being Final Boss and Preach Gaming for me. They'll be there, but there's loads of others that'll be around over the Las Vegas section. And they'll be doing... It's the same as the Race to World First Eternal Palace, 24-hour coverage. But there'll be 2 big streams. It'll be the Method stream, and it will be... I do forget who is actually covering the Race to World First that they're partnering up with in Las Vegas. But they'll also have a stream available on their channel as well. I believe it's WSOE.
Yes. And
it's the World Series of Esports, or World Showdown of Esports. There we go.
It is a multi-genre, multi-game tournament series.
Yeah, because there's like a mini convention going on that weekend as well, I believe, which is why they're working with it. But the whole list of players streaming from the Race to World First, you've got Esfand, Marsh, Tips Out, Nugien, Roger Brown, Zizaran, Guzu, Kenny Marsh, Mendiku Sali, Lauren, Carla, Deep Shade Sko, Trey, Jake and Bake, Chris Potter, Narcoles, Maldiva, Jari, and Hotted. So there's a lot of players there, a lot of different perspectives. And
okay,
yeah,
I am going to be streaming the race for the world's last to 60 on Classic.
You're going to stream more than 1 day a week and more than 2 hours at a time?
To world's last.
Yeah, but people will get there slower than you are.
Oh, Philly! I can't even do it properly. Oh.
There you go.
Well, one of the casters on this that I thought was really cool is Mr. GM. So they have...
Yes.
I've been following them. I watched like their videos.
So
a lot of their coverage was on private servers.
Yeah.
But they are a amazing YouTuber, and it's cool that they're now part of.
Yeah. So the full talent lineup in terms of casters and everything else, we've got Preach Gaming. There's J.B. There's Bay from Final Boss. Daniel Falcone, Mr. GM, as you said, Super Tees, Martin Creek, Nano, Zavalosh, Moofs, Darry, and Bookmark. Well, there you go. There's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting couple of things. It might be worth having on in the background when I'm working on other bits and pieces. Because there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm probably not going to have a lot of time to play Classic this week other than launch. I'll see if I can slot in some time there because I want to talk about it next week, to be fair. But there's lots of other things. Scaling back round to add-ons, the biggest news is that Icy Veins focused, and a lot of the news came this way on the Classic LFG add-on, which essentially just was a text pass for everyone that was looking for a group, and then it would put them into this add-on, and then people could just browse through it. Blizzard have come out and said that it's not in the spirit of Classic WoW, even though there were add-ons that were similar to this in vanilla, but apparently because it's not in the spirit of Classic WoW, and I think it's mostly because a lot of the large content creators have screamed out and decried it. Because they don't want the minute anytime someone hears LFG, they have flashbacks to what LFG is in the current game, and they don't want that sort of thing. So, which is a shame. I would have used classic LFG just for the sheer fact it would have made life simpler for looking for a dungeon. But Blizzard have essentially come out and they've killed it. They've changed the API settings. I think it's the first time they've really reached out and done anything like this, specifically to kill a mod since Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah, killing a mod entirely. Like they did kill parts of like DBM with like its raid thing. So there were specific things that they've killed in add-ons. But yeah, a whole add-on. I like.
Yeah, but it's the first time that Blizzard have specifically come out and made a blue post that have killed it. Because back in Wrath of the Lich King, there was a mod that allowed them to place markers on the floor, and this was used heavily for Putricide. And Blizzard turned around and went, "It's not in the fairness of the game that such a thing can do this and like alter the world in this way, shape, or form." Because it was only client side, and only people who could see it within the specific raid could see those markers anyway. But because Blizzard didn't want you to do it, they specifically made a blue post and said, we're making the API changes to kill it, and then they implemented their own thing, which is why we've got the floor markers that's in game now.
Okay.
But it's the first time that Blizzard have come out and really decried and murdered an add-on.
Now, this add-on didn't actually create the group, because we have the world quest list now that creates groups, and I use that in current WoW. This just gave you a list of who's up, and then it also let you spit out the channels.
It's literally just a text pass. So anytime it would see looking for group in general chat, LFG, global chats, it would literally just put it into this add-on. That's all it was. It wasn't making like custom groups at all, like the current group finder does. So that's why I'm just astounded that Blizzard took such drastic steps. And I was wrong. The last time Blizzard came out and decried an add-on was the group finder. The World Quest group finder in Legion. That was the last time they murdered an add-on.
Which is still kind of back now, and it works the same way to me as it did in Legion.
Blizzard have just changed it so that you can just queue up for elite ones. That's all they've done.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's
all I've done. And it's only for current content as well. You can't queue up for an elite one in previous content.
I'm gonna play that on the classic LFG. What I think also is happening is Blizzard is afraid of losing the people in it. So it's one of those, enough people were decrying it that I think maybe they didn't want people to get upset.
But that alone is outside of the space of what Vanilla WoW did. Vanilla WoW pissed people off. Vanilla WoW, Blizzard made decisions that pissed off the player base. Not infantiling the player base and bowing to their wishes. The only time that ever happened was Cthulhu. And that's when people turned around and went to Blizzard, your numbers are wrong. Change this boss so it's killable. And they did. The killing of the classic LFG add-on, I think Blizzard have made the wrong decision and curtailed to the louder content creators that exist out there.
I can see that perspective.
People are still going to be using the LFG channels to look for groups. It's just the add-on just makes it easier to go, I want to join your group. You know, what are they going to do when someone makes a gear score type add-on? And we haven't had a gear score add-on since Wrath. That's when that first came in. What if somebody makes a gear score add-on? The reason the gear score add-on became so widespread is because people started using it. It's the same way as Raider.io. Raider.io became prevalent because people started using it and it became widespread. And then it just took off. But it's the thing. It's not going to be that difficult for a player to take the API that looks at and inspects the gear similar to the way the gear score add-on worked in Wrath, implement it, and then people will use it because people are elitist. And when you get stuff like Blackwing Layer, they're only going to want to take people that are Molten Core and Onyxia geared.
And one thing that's gonna that we're gonna see is there'll be add-ons that are either gonna toe the line with this Classic LFG, or we're gonna see features pop up in things like Discord or even sites. So there's gonna be outside groups. So maybe it's that Blizzard themselves didn't want it in their game, but they wanted it outside in guilds. They wanted it in smaller
Blizzard's argument was, if they wanted an LFG system in the game, they would have, because the game is still based on the current framework, they could have easily have moved the current group finder from live into classic. That's
Okay.
the argument. That's the argument for Blizzard, saying like if they wanted to do it, they'd have their own thing over. Because it didn't exist in vanilla, it shouldn't exist in classic. But there were add-ons that did group finding stuff in vanilla WoW.
Yeah.
So this is why Blizzard's argument is slightly flawed, and I don't see why it's a problem, because it's just taking the people who are doing those group chats. Hell, the looking for group channel was only local to the zone you were in anyway. So you had to send somebody off back to Stormwind to go looking for group this dungeon.
And maybe that's what they want. They don't want a...
Yeah, but it's still... This is the thing. The add-on still takes that and adds it. And then you could just open the add-on and go, oh, someone said that they're looking for that. Because it will take it from the chats even though you're not in them. So if you don't want to be in the looking for group chat, you can still see it in that add-on because someone's put it there.
And that's where I think what they're wanting is that they're wanting people to have to go... They're wanting that communication because they've been told by enough people that they want the communication. They're trying to limit as much automation.
But you're not going to get the communication in game anyway. And I'm sounding so devil's advocate on this because back in vanilla, forums were a big way of communication, and TeamSpeak and Ventrilo and Mumble and all those other voice chat systems, they weren't as robust as what Discord is, which is essentially an inbuilt forum.
Yeah.
You don't need guild websites anymore because you've got Discord. You know?
Yeah.
And, like, what's going to stop... Like, you even said it at the beginning of this actual podcast. There's been a new Discord that's come out for a lot of the US guilds to work together.
Yeah. So...
You've already nullified in-game chat and forums just based on that solely. So you've nullified one form of communication, which is the communication they want, which is in-game. You've nullified it immediately. So go on.
Which why I think, from Blizzard's stance, so that way they can appease people who are upset. They don't want people to be able to point at in-game. That way, if it's outside of the game that we have these sites, Blizzard can be like, oh, no, we didn't put it in the game, so you can't blame us. So I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to deflect it off of them to then make people be mad at the services that are providing it outside of the game.
Yeah, but if Blizzard takes the step to murder the add-on, then Blizzard can... Like, all it shows is that at any point that someone releases an add-on, and either the large content creators dislike it because it's not in the realm of classic WoW, or it doesn't fit within the realm of what vanilla WoW stood for, and Blizzard picks up on that and they decide to kill it and come up with some blue post that says this is the reason why we're actually killing it. If it makes the game easier for people to play, why are they killing an add-on? You want more people to play the game. WoW Classic came out with its actual reasoning saying this game is more casual than its competitors. Why make it harder?
Because this could be a decision that came from somebody higher up that
don't give me the Activision reason. Don't bring me
No, not Activision, but even Blizzard itself. There's been the thing that people said, we will close down our private servers if we like Classic. So I think they could be afraid if they don't do enough.
Counterpoint. Counterpoint. Completely cynical. Blizzard have only decided to do Classic WoW, so they actually have a reason to take lawsuits to anyone that holds a Classic private server. Because the reason those private servers got away with what they did for the longest time is because they stated that they were offering a service that Blizzard was no longer offering. On that judgment alone, they've managed to get away with so much stuff. Blizzard now has a reason to turn around and go, this is our IP, we're offering this service, you can no longer exist. If you do not cease and desist, which they can now offer, they can send out cease and desist, and they can turn around and then take legal action off the back of those cease and desists. That's a completely cynical view of it. But they can do that now.
Yeah.
And regardless of the people that you've said, we'll close our private servers down, irrelevant. Even if Blizzard haven't done Classic for those reasons, it's completely irrelevant now.
So then, counterpoint to that, maybe they're just doing it so that they don't have to do all that with those legal fees. Maybe they're doing it like if they done it the one way to be able to do the lawsuits, they're also trying to avoid those legal fees anyway by appeasing the people who are wanting Classic, so they don't turn away to other games even.
I mean, offering Classic should have been something they should have done for a longest time anyway. I want to point out that we had the classic World of Warcraft, like vanilla WoW, for 6 years. And we've been living in a post-Cataclysm world for 9. We've had a Cataclysm world for longer than we had classic WoW. You know? That's insane to me. Like, logistically, that's insane. It's so weird that this has become a thing. And, you know, the whole memes that have spread out about it, like the whole you think you want it but you don't. I mean, that's going to come back and bite Blizzard in the arse big time if the numbers hold for vanilla WoW. But we've got to see when the numbers hold for vanilla WoW. Like a month in, 2 months in. The biggest thing that's going to be the time-tested thing is once the more casual of people get past Molten Core and get past Onyxia, and they're just literally sitting there waiting for Blackwing Lair to be a thing. What are these players going to do? Are they going to continue their sub but go and jump over to retail, which is what I think Blizzard are hoping for, is to reenact those? Or are people just going to deactivate their sub until Blackwing Lair comes around because, you know, they've got their gear and they just need to wait? At which point do they speed up the phase process? What do they do?
If they've done this thing to stop Classic LFG, you may see them speed up the phase process, because I think if they're expecting people to go to current WoW in the time between, I've got friends who are coming back for Classic who hate current WoW, so they're not going to want to touch current WoW. They're only in current WoW right now because they can't get Classic. So I think, but they're also the people who have left WoW. I'm just saying that if they don't like, if they get bored of Classic, they're going to unsubscribe to the next thing, which is also why some of them are asking for the content to go after Phase 6. They want new content. They want new content,
or they want TVC service. Yeah, absolutely. I completely understand that, and we talked about that previously in many podcasts episodes about where things will go. It'll be interesting to see where the game is, like in terms of its population 3 to 6 months time. Phase 2 means that they'll try to reduce a lot of layering. I'd actually have to go and actually have a look at the proper timeline for after Onyxia and Molten Core when we got Blackwing Lair.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff, the phases are, from what I understand, they are to be determined. So they want to get this stuff up. And even looking at the AMA, there is some stuff that they're still going to be fixing, like what someone's asking about, like the spawn of guards. And WoW has not looked at the spawn of guards to see if they're like vanilla. So there's going to be a lot of things that they're going to maybe have to be fixing in between even phase 1 and phase 2.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting.
I'm hoping it succeeds because there are people that want it and that people are like insanely excited for it. I want it to succeed. I think because in that way, if they're having fun, then everyone's having fun. If they're having fun, it's revenue for WoW. If they're having fun, it means that Warcraft and Blizzard can go on farther. So I'm hoping that in 3 to 6 months we see it going much farther.
Okay. So here's the timeline for you, okay? Patch 1.1 was World of Warcraft, but it was really... that's 1.1 was when the game was released in the 7th of November 2004, yeah? So, yes. Blackwing Lair, which is patch 1.6. Assault on Blackwing Lair came out in July 2005, which is 7, 8, 9... I want to say 9 months. 8, 9 months after the original World of Warcraft. Do you think between having... I mean, technically, I don't think Molten Core... No, Molten Core and Onyxia were available then. But it's just like, do you think they're going to wait 8, 9 months for Phase 2?
I doubt it, especially if Meth is going to clear what's currently there in 2 weeks.
But the content's going to be simple anyway. Like, it's a lot of easy bosses, but... They're going to have to speed it up. I imagine it'll be on a 6-month plan. Just like what it was, like where stuff evolved to originally. Like every 6 months they'll release a new raid.
I think where they're hedging their bets is they don't want to announce something and then have to delay it. So I think they're just trying to make sure that they're not going to overpromise.
Mm-hmm. But then you've got to remember, like 1.7 had Zul'Gurub, and that came out 2 months after Blackwing Lair. So... They might spread it down to 3 to 4 months, I imagine. I think they might have a 3 to 4 month pacing.
Because the raids themselves are here, they just have to get it to work.
Oh, they just have to. They just literally have to turn them on, and bug fix it.
Like, bug fix it, because like the current content that they're developing for current WoW, that has to be creation. That has that process, but I could see them being able to turn these raids out much faster, depending on how fast people get through it all.
As long as they've got the correct patch number for it, because 1.1... I mean, saying that, even at 1.12, the first boss in Blackwing Lair was still not bug-free. That thing wasn't even bug-free post-Cataclysm.
Interesting.
So that'll be interesting to see how that works. I don't know how they're going to take it. I think if they don't do it on a 3 to 4 month cycle, and that means even making the spread of difference between Blackwing Lair to Zul'Gurub, if they don't make that change and just spread stuff out, then they'll be done well before a 2-year cycle to get to Nags. And I think they want Classic as an experiment to last 2 years minimum.
Well, and I wonder if they're going to keep the team that's there on it, or if they're going to pull it off. Back when Classic was first announced, I remember an interview where they said they at that moment planned to get Classic all done, and then just keep a maintenance team on those servers and on Classic.
For launch of Classic, even members from the live retail WoW team are going to be helping with the Classic launch. They've announced that.
Okay.
Whether they expand the Classic team will be based purely on whether they look to design 1.13 content. Otherwise, they'll just have a team and they'll look at doing TVC servers. And then the question will be, can you transfer people's characters over from Classic, or will you allow them to make pre-mades? I think pre-mades are going to be the way to go, because the way that base level TBC endgame was, that if you had Nax gear, you pretty much trampled over everything until you got to tier 5 content. You didn't replace your gear all the way through leveling, you just kept Nax gear all the way up until and you cleared Karazhan, Gruul, and Magtheridon, and you just walked into tier 5 with Nax level gear.
But would they want people to get pre-made, or would they want part of the appeal of Burning Crusade servers to be that you level from 0 to 70?
If they want to keep the Classic feel for how the game went, they'll allow transfers. But I think what they'll do is they'll keep Classic servers separate to Burning Crusade Classic servers, because they kind of have to try and just keep that. So what they'll do is when they announce it, if they do want transfers, they'll be like, you can transfer your character over, or you can make a pre-made with a set level of gear. But that set level of gear will mean, you're going to have a set level of leveling gear. It'd be like if you made a 110 pre-made nowadays with a boost, I imagine.
Because I was thinking even for Burning Crusade, just let people transfer if they're high level, or you go to Burning Crusade and you start from 1.
No, they'll start from 60.
Okay.
They'll do the 60 to 70. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, I guess. Blair. I'll probably stream tomorrow I say tomorrow. Tomorrow will be, when the servers are up. So, we'll see. It depends if it's got time. I'll try to get some classic time in during the week. Might even jump on the old Dragon Powered Studios Discord and have a chat to some people in there. Who knows? I think you're going to try and stream it at some point as well, Frazley, aren't you?
Absolutely. My schedule is up in the air on when I'll do it, but I'm definitely planning to...
there are definitely some friends from the Dragon Powered Studios Discord that are going to be leveling as well. There's Syl from Whispers of War. A couple of the old Blue Recluse names are going to be leveling as well. I'm not quite sure about some of the other podcasters that are available through Dragon Powered Studios, but I know quite a few people are aiming to get on the classic bandwagon.
Well, and even Michael will be joining you on the EU because he has a EU account.
He does. Mr. Acid Tears. I don't know. Have you got a selection of add-ons like that you've got there? Because I presume you're going to try and use some of the stuff that will help you see things a little bit easier, won't you? Like,
I haven't looked at what the classic add-ons are, but I probably will use stuff like if I find
you're using Immersion on Live, aren't you?
Yeah, and I'm hoping that that's on there.
There is a version of Immersion built for classic. So
perfect. Yes. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that. I am, like I said earlier, my goal in the beginning is to try to reduce the quest helping add-ons. But I say that knowing I will probably eat my foot or eat my crow later on.
Mate, I'm looking forward to you getting lost and just like my whole argument against people decrying those add-ons is the fact that everybody alt tabbed out to go find where they had to go for a quest.
Like, I didn't quite do that.
Do you know? Have you ever used Azeroth Autopilot in the live game?
No.
So basically, that was an add-on that told you what quest to pick up, where to go, what to do next. There is a version of that mod that exists for Classic already.
All I used in Classic was...
No, I'm not talking about in Classic. I'm talking about on Live.
On Live, okay, yeah. Even on Live, I don't do those because I don't like any add-on that streamlines the opening of quests. Because I try to skim quest text, but I wanna skim it each time, just because something's gonna click somewhere in lore for me. But that's my reason.
I've played this game too much to know that I can go to X and do Y and come back for Z. You know?
Okay. I'm still not there.
I've played the game too much to know these things, even if it just sits in the back of my head. And I mean, that's why I enjoyed doing the whole time walking thing, where I could just level through time walking dungeons for a few ults. Yes, it was mind numbing because it's only 5 dungeons instead of the whole wide range, but it was different. And I think next Saturday brings, on the 31st of August, on the EU at least, is it's Mega Squirt. So there's the double XP leveling bonus for pets, and then Squirt will be in the garrison in Warlords of Draenor. So there's even more XP to be gained from there. So I might just level my priest and just sit in the garrison all day and just do that.
Nice. And I think Emma will probably be doing that too, because Emma likes Squirt Day.
Sure. Oh my god. I think that's probably a good time to call it. This has been a classic prelude. The goal is going to be next week to have a plethora of guests on from Dragon Powered Studios to talk about their experiences through Classic. So we will see where they go. You might hear some familiar voices, but we shall see. Mr. Frazley, as always, where can they find you around the internet?
You can find me at Frazley.com and on the Twitters at FrazleyTastic.
As always, ladies and gentlemen, you can find my main Twitter at Titans Creed. You can find my gaming specific one where I don't chatter so much and just put up when I'm live on the various services or new videos at Gaming Phoenix. You can find videos like this podcast in VOD form over at youtube.com/Project Phoenix Productions. You can find it live like we've just been airing it today on twitch.tv/Project Phoenix Productions, where you can also find me gaming 5 to 7 days a week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. If you've joined us live, thank you very much for listening. If you've joined us anywhere on the podcast around the internet, I have been joined by the ever-loving, time-travelling gnome, Mr. Frazley. As he sits there and doesn't register. There we go.
Yes, it went over my head for a little bit.
He's already zoned out, and it's not even late where he is.
I'm thinking of my no mage on the Pagel server for Classic.
That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much as always for joining us. We'll be back next week with another probably classic centric episode, but we'll probably talk some on live if there's any news to do there as well. Join us next week for episode 16. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, as Mr. Frazley likes to say,
be awesome, and if someone loves Classic, don't hate on them.
Both of those things are true. Thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you next time.